بله بفرمایید.
Hello everyone. Sorry, we are starting with a 10 minutes of delay.
Hello everybody. I'm so sorry for the delay that was caused.
Good afternoon and maybe good evening when where you're all located. The time is 10:40 and we are quite fortunate to start with the presence of well-known speakers from 3 regions in the world, but mainly coming from Asia Pacific. Also, we have more than 100
speakers from 3 different
and approximately this number from Iran. Have a heads up before we start. We will have some introductory remarks. Chamber of Cooperatives and also ICA in the regional office. Then we are going to have speakers from Iran explaining their activities.
Thank your presence.
And then speakers from other countries will describe their experience in their own country and organization. So without further delay, on Dr. Zeghami, who is the Deputy of International and Economic Affairs of the ICC, to briefly describe about today's event. Dr. Zeghami, the floor.
From all over the world. Actually, the cooperators from Iran and all over the world. Before anything, I would like to introduce the subject of as you know, today's competitive, which is accompanied by rapid changes in the international environment and the transition from the industrial society to the shift from the national economy to the global economy. Entrepreneurship is referred to as the economic growth and development, which can lead to the promotion of social welfare at the community level. The most important effect of entrepreneurship development can be considered innovation, improving the level of technology, producing technical knowledge, creating employment, producing and distributing income at community level, and finally, achieving economic growth and development. Also, studies have shown that in developing economies, small and medium-sized enterprises and institutions such as cooperatives have had great success in improving productivity, economic growth, and job creation and human capital. The cooperative business model as a model based on collective needs and with the capacity to aggregate and provides a platform for collective entrepreneurship and maximum job. In fact, these companies and institutions, through participation, provide a place for the emergence of entrepreneurship in individuals and help to expand equity. Country said that entrepreneurship in the form of cooperative business model is a desirable solution to the problem employment and productive community. We need to focus on its development and promotion. The media and hope the methods that can help facilitate and the entrepreneurial atmosphere communities by transferring knowledge and business ideas. And the experience of successful entrepreneurs levels can lead to the emergence of innovative businesses and a change in existing businesses. In order to achieve this goal, one Chamber of Cooperatives is trying to step towards entrepreneurship in the Iranian and world cooperative movement, holding this webinar and providing a platform for the transfer of national and international experiences. Therefore, it is hoped that the outcome of this event will be an effective and useful step towards promoting collective entrepreneurship through cooperatives in Iran and other societies. Thank you again for your presence. And management of the program to other friends, and especially Mr. Bennett. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Zeghami, for your input.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask Mr.
Zeghami.
Balu Ayer, who is the regional Pacific at the International Cooperative
Mr. Balu.
Before he starts, I would like to give an introduction about his bio. Bayer is the regional director of the International Cooperative Alliance and for Asia Pacific. Balu has worked in India in cooperative development before moving abroad to work on Asian regional concerns for overseas Foundation, the International Development Exchange, ActionAid India, and the Aga Khan Rural Support Program, and served adjunct faculty at Southern New Hampshire University. Balu has a degree in civil engineering from the National Institute of Technology, Durgapur, India, a postgraduate diploma in rural management from the Institute of Rural Management at Anand, India, master's in public policy from the Goldman School at the University of California, Berkeley, and master's in community development from the Southern New Hampshire University. Mr. Balu Ayer, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ali Reza, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me and the International Cooperative Alliance, Asia Pacific, the opportunity to share our thoughts at this August gathering. Again, on behalf of the International Cooperative Alliance, Asia and Pacific, let me add my welcome to all of you. And it's a delight to see representation from cooperatives from Japan, China, India, Africa, Spain, and of course, Iran. And to also see familiar faces on the screen. The 2020 edition of the World Cooperative Congress pegs the top 300 cooperatives as having a turnover of 2.14 trillion US dollars. IFCO present here, and I can see Tarun Bhargava here, ranks #1 cooperative in the world in terms of turnover per GDP per capita. And there are also 6 organizations from the Asia Pacific region in the global top 10 rankings in terms of turnover per GDP per capita. And over 48 cooperatives and mutual enterprises from the Asia Pacific region, from Japan, New Zealand, India, Korea, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, who figure in the top 300. What this shows is that the region has cooperatives with the size and scale, and also the potential going forward, given the Asia Pacific region largely has better fared the COVID-19 pandemic and is the region which has the potential to accelerate economic growth. So there is immense opportunities in the Asia Pacific region, and cooperatives have an important role to play given their presence and size. in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, the emphasis is on more protecting health and livelihoods. And when we talk about livelihoods, it's in terms of capabilities, in improving assets, in increasing income, and all activities which are required to bring about life in its entirety. And while the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the developed countries and the developing countries and cut across age, class, gender, and other barriers, its impact has not been the same. The young and women, workers in the formal sector, and those on front lines, and people at the lower rung have been more negatively impacted. And this is where the opportunities for cooperatives come into play. Cooperatives, we know, work in a manner where both the individual and the group matter. With its definition, values, and principles, provides us the opportunity to center attention on the real economy, on real people, and real need. And this is a time when operators need to capitalize on the opportunities presented. And I'd like to take this opportunity to also remind you about the 33rd World Congress, which is going to take place in Seoul in December this year. So the opportunity is there for cooperatives. Look at areas where they already have a large presence, for example, in agriculture and in credit, but also to look into areas where attention has grown: technology, health, aging, needs of workers, etc. And already there are many examples from the region where work is being done in this area. For example, most recently, two cooperatives from the Asia Pacific region were winners of the replication project. This is bringing in youth and cooperatives and trying to address needs of the people. In response again to the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a group in India, the Women Committee, in fact, do a training on digital inclusion for women. As we know, things are becoming more and more digitized. And so we need to have the capability and the capacity to be able to access the digital tools. So this was, again, a very important area for us to look at. How do we enable digital financial inclusion of our members? Health and insurance has become a big thing. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown the deficiencies in the health system. And in many countries, cooperatives have stepped up to the challenge, and there are more and more initiatives underway. For example, again, in India, the government in its recent budget has dramatically increased the allocation for health, and cooperatives have been given responsibility to see that they have more, they are able to do more in this area. And I'm sure the same is the case across in other countries. And similarly, insurance, that's another area. When we look at the top 300 cooperatives and mutuals, agriculture and insurance are the two biggest sectors where representation is there. But while agriculture is common across many countries, insurance is only more in some of the developed countries. So again, there is tremendous potential to increase insurance coverage among members, among cooperatives. So there is, I think, and these are growth opportunities where more jobs can be created, more people can be brought under coverage. Work is another area, I think, where cooperatives can step up. In Japan recently, the Worker Cooperatives Act has been passed, and I see Osamu Nakano is here, and he will talk more about this. So workers were badly affected during the COVID-19 pandemic, and there is need to see how, and they're still lagging behind. And I think there is tremendous opportunities for cooperatives in this area. And in many countries, we are seeing that given aging, some of the individuals who started their own family business, they are growing old and they are no longer able to run their business. So they want either the workers to take over, and even members from their family are not willing to take over the business. So they are trying to see if workers can take over the business. And similarly, there are opportunities where businesses are failing for worker cooperatives to come up. And this is, again, I see a tremendous growth opportunity. And of course, technology. The whole COVID-19 pandemic has shifted the dynamics in relation to technology. And there are new forms of cooperatives coming up which blend the cooperative principles and technology. And platform cooperatives are one example of this. So I think going forward, when you look at the need and the opportunity, there is both a role where cooperatives can play an important part, and we need to see how we capitalize on it. So at this point, I think I would like to laud the Iran Chamber of Cooperatives for their efforts to reinforce Principle 6, cooperation among cooperatives, and also Principle 5 in terms of education and information. Throughout the pandemic, they have organized a series of webinars for members in Iran to learn, share with members in the region and outside. So the move towards online has helped us overcome limitations of physical space, constraints around travel, and other issues. So ICC and members in Iran have capitalized on this opportunity. And this webinar is another example of how this exchange, a platform is being created to share information, to know more about the experience of each other. And this, again, will give us the opportunity to see what we can do in our respective countries. And for me, I think cooperative and collective entrepreneurship can be furthered only through our own individual experiences and shared experiences. And platforms like this will definitely give us the opportunity as we move forward. So again, I'd like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity. And again, congratulate Iran Chamber of Cooperatives for organizing this webinar. And thank you all for being part of this important webinar. Thank you very much.
Balu, and we had very good from the regional office of ICA, especially talking about the region's potentials, and especially about the 33rd World Cooperative Congress, which is going to be held in Seoul in 21 this year. And hopefully we will have very good results about the identity of the cooperatives, which is going to be a very hot topic in this year's Congress. Also, thank you for mentioning about the important subject of the youth and inclusion of youth. This is also the roles that they can be. From now, I would like to go towards Mr. Tarun Bhargava, who is the Joint General Manager in charge of the Sustainable Cooperative Development Team at the Indian Farmer Fertilizer Cooperative, who is an executive member of ICAO, sectoral organization of ICA. His portfolio involves working with approximately 36,000 member cooperative societies in the agricultural sector in India. Mr. Bhargava graduated from BITS Pilani as a chemical engineer and spent much of his career manufacturing phosphatic and nitrogenous fertilizer, as well as contributing to the development of IT-based business solutions. Mr. Bhargava works extensively with the international community to contribute to building a stronger agricultural cooperatives. Over the years, to international cooperative development is inspiring. Being a lead agriculture is dedicated to making the life of millions of farmers better through its various initiatives. Ensure his continuous engagement with global cooperatives to collaborate and contribute in achieving SDGs is Mr. Tarun, the floor is yours.
آقای بنایی میشه بهشون اعلام کنین که میکروفونشون رو باز کنن؟
Mr. Tarun, I think you're muted. Can you unmute yourself? I think you are muted.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
Yes, now we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Is it okay now? Are you hearing me?
Yes, yes. We can hear you.
Oh, thank you. So thank you, Ali Reza, once again, and all my cooperative friends. I welcome you to this session. I'm honored to be part of the webinar today and thank ICC Iran to give me this opportunity to present my views before this August gathering. Especially, we have some very enlightened speakers like Mr. Balu Iyer, Mr. Li Shuncheng, and Sifa from Africa. And friends, I firmly believe that the collective entrepreneurship can be best achieved through cooperatives. We know that when individuals join in cooperative venture, the power generated far exceeds what they could have accomplished acting individually. So this collective energy and united communities can bring a change in lives of people all across the globe. This is what I firmly believe. And we also know that the change is almost impossible without collaboration, without cooperation and consensus. I congratulate ICC to choose this topic they have chosen for today's webinar. And my presentation will take you through the work my cooperative IFCO is doing for the farmers and folk of India on this subject. This is again, we see that collective entrepreneurship is a network organization that allows a diverse group of people to share the risks and the rewards associated with the discovery and exploitation of new business opportunities. Collective entrepreneurship is composed of relatively large number of businesses, trade persons, which pools resources, shares information, or provides other benefits for their members. There are three types of collective businesses, but I feel out of the trade association, franchise, and cooperative is the most suitable for achieving the goals of collective entrepreneurship. About IFCO was formed in 1967 at the initiative of CLUSA, USA, and Government of India. We are the world's largest cooperative producing and marketing the fertilizers. IFCO has 3 ammonia urea units in India and 2 units for phosphatic fertilizers. We have ventures outside India in Oman, Jordan, Senegal, and UAE. And IFCO is also represented by Mr. Aditya Yadav on the global ICA board. This was just told to you by Mr. Balu Iyer. Thank you, Balu, for mentioning it. IFCO was ranked #1 cooperative in the world amongst top 300 cooperative based on the ratio of turnover over GDP per capita. And this also signifies that IFCO is contributing significantly to the GDP and economic growth of nation that is India. We have the core strength in fertilizers, but we are also diversified into international trading, general insurance, special economic zones, rural telephony, farm forestry, commodity exchange, agrochemicals, and organic farming. The recent initiatives include on working with our joint partners on farm machinery, specialty fertilizers, biofertilizers, biostimulants, vegetable processing, e-commerce, and developing new markets for the farmers. We are also proud to say that IFCO is built on the cooperative principles, and we firmly follow these principles. As you see on the screen, there are 7 cooperative principles which we all know. And out of these 7 principles, when we talk of the entrepreneurship, I think the cooperative principle #3 the member economic participation is very important. In IFCO, we have members' contribution in the form of share capital of IFCO, and sale of IFCO fertilizers is being done by the member societies. And we provide a lot of benefits to the farmers. We provide them the fertilizers, which are more in demand than supply in India. We also provide them sales margins, and we also give them 20% dividend regularly. We also know that the cooperative principle number 3 is a facilitator for cooperative principles number 5, 6, and 7, which is the training and education, which is cooperation among cooperatives and concern for community. So with this in mind, IFCO has been a value-based cooperative that puts its members at the center of its operations and has undertaken various innovative methods to motivate the member cooperators, farmers, women, rural youth towards promoting collective entrepreneurship, which help them in their development and livelihoods. Here I would like to mention that IFCO is taken 3 thrust areas: the women empowerment, the youth development, and the technology, imbibing the technology into our day-to-day operations and any innovative operations we do in IFCO. The main initiatives you see here on the screen, we will take these one by one in this presentation. IFCO, through its balanced products portfolio, helps 36,000 member cooperatives, which is around 40 million farmers of India, to get quality at their doorstep. Now here you see the different products of IFCO, which include the fertilizers, the agrochemicals, the biostimulant Sagarica, which is a seaweed extract-based biostimulant. We have water-soluble fertilizers, and also the biofertilizers. The latest in the line, which is a very innovative product, is nano urea. IFCO, with the help of its vast member network, is performing the field trials of nanotechnology-based products to promote sustainable agriculture that will bring a revolution in the way farmers use fertilizers to grow crops and provide food to millions. We are targeting to start the commercial production of this nano urea sometime in June 2021, and this will be available across the globe, not only in India, to the farmers of the world. In this slide, I show you how IFCO has done exemplary work, which was appreciated by Prime Minister of India as well. When the times were very challenging, we distributed food packets to the farmers, and we also created jobs by involving them in the activities to fight Corona. We work for environment sustainability and to provide extra income to the farmers, as neem plantation drive and neem seeds are purchased by IFCO for producing neem oil. This neem oil is used to coat urea, which is a fertilizer, and neem coated urea is better than the normal urea for the farmers, as its use is like a natural pesticide, as well as it slows down the release of nitrogen in the soil. So IFCO has planted around 10 million of neem plants till date, and IFCO has undertaken these plantation drives in around 400 different locations in India. So this is a big Go Green plantation drive which IFCO has taken for environment sustainability. IFCO has also launched IFCO Yuva, which is a youth portal. As I told you, our thrust areas include youth, women empowerment, and the technology propagation across all our members and farmers. So this is a single window to empower the rural youth for their better career opportunities as per the vocational or the industry sector needs. So here you can see some figures also. The employer registrations around 947, the candidate registrations 26,153, and the figure, the total visitors around 480,612. One of our more new ventures is IFCO E-Bazaar, which is in physical form also. We are having some stores all across India. Around 1,200 stores are across India now. More than 1,000 as has been written on this slide. And this is providing the agri inputs at the doorstep of farmers. Even some of the products are delivered free of cost to these farmers and the rural folk. Through this IFCO e-Bazaar, as Mr. Balu was mentioning, after COVID, insurance and healthcare has been the focus area by many countries and organizations, and cooperatives have been working in this area as well, in this sector. IFCO had invested an equity in Grameen Healthcare, which is Grameen means rural, health, you know all, and care. So the rural healthcare, and through this, we are providing a network of health professionals, ensuring the last mile delivery to the farmers and rural folk. So here you can see the UVPs, which is the unique value propositions of Grameen Healthcare. The purpose, you are seeing we are purpose driven, geographically clustered, the last mile delivery services, and we have also gone digital and providing the telemedicine services to the farmers through this Grameen Health Care initiative of IFCO. We also work for the farmers through Cooperative Rural Development Trust, which is CORDET, and we train to sharpen the skills of farmers on crop production, horticulture, animal husbandry through on-farm demonstrations. So in this slide, you see some pictures where farmers are being trained on site, and there is also a crop seminar for the women and including the women. So we believe in including and empowering the women along with the men in the rural villages. So through CORDET, we are also producing biofertilizers and some consumable products like pickles, honey, etc., to foster collective entrepreneurship spirit among the rural masses. We have a institution by the name, which is a subsidiary of IFCO, IFFDC, IFCO Farm Forestry Development Cooperative, through which we are converting the wastelands into some lands which can be used for irrigation. Here also we provide some jobs to the people, to the farmers who are involved in this activity. Through IFFDC, we also promote self-help groups wherein 90% members are women and help them in improving the women's skills in the fields of tailoring, embroidery, beekeeping, and vegetable preservation. So we have seen through this exercise that when we work through these initiatives to involve women, so we are not just doing it for the women, we are doing for the families of the farmers, which includes the children of the farmers, and this income which is generated goes to the family and improves the lifestyles of the people all across the globe. So I'd like to conclude here that cooperatives operate in multiple sectors of economy, thus have tremendous potential to explore the collective entrepreneurship in many ways in future. This collective entrepreneurship through cooperatives can provide a better platform for growth and development irrespective of the social, political, gender, racial or religious background, and thus can help reduce inequalities. And we can explore ways to strengthen the collective entrepreneurship through cooperatives by the means of digitalization and encouraging platform cooperatives in future. Thank you very much. Once again, Mr. Ali Reza, ICC and ICA AP for inviting me to this webinar, and the audience to giving me a patient listening. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tarun, and good to hear the insights IFCO that you all are doing in India to provide a very good platform for farmers and rural residents to have a better cooperative. It's also honor-bringing to have IFCO as #1 in top 300 cooperatives, and this is a great honor for all the cooperatives in PIC. It's also important to mention about the solidarity of your products with the cooperative principles, and that's very interesting. And the idea with the e-bazaar is very interesting for me, to have a new way of connecting the cooperatives value chain, and also getting the bazaar thing, which is the marketplace in older style, to provide a very good platform for the cooperatives. Thank you, Tarun. And now we would like to invite Dr. Hosseini Nia, who is a Dean Faculty and an Associate Professor at the Faculty of Entrepreneurship, University of Tehran. He is also Chancellor of Higher Education Institute Science, Applied Maharat. Formerly, he was a Deputy Minister, Deputy of Research, Entrepreneurship, and Education, Ministry of Cooperatives. PhD in Sustainable Rangelands Management, Application of Social Network Analysis, is supply chain management. He has broadly been involved in agri-rural and cooperative development studies, including 40 national projects, among which he has steered 19 projects. Furthermore, he has published over 32 papers amongst a series of high-impact factor journals, national and international, and also 64 conference papers. Holding this background, thematically, Dr. Hosseini Nia has focused on agricultural entrepreneurship studies, including food supply chain management, cooperatives, business models, entrepreneurial opportunities, and methodologically, he mainly applies mixed method, including quantitative and qualitative techniques. Dr. Hosseini Nia, the floor is yours.
Okay, in the name of God, the compassionate and merciful, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my presentation. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this valuable event, and hope this webinar will achieve all its goals. Today I'm going to talk about collective entrepreneurship in the context of cooperative sector. As I know, there are two groups of people in this webinar. The first group includes the researchers and entrepreneurship students, and the second group consists of employees, managers of cooperatives sector. So it's actually difficult for me to satisfy both groups in this sector, but I will do my best. I would like to start my speech with the definition of entrepreneurship and its importance, as you see in these slides. But I'm forced to ignore it because of time limitation. Okay, let me say entrepreneurship research once predominantly focused on the individual entrepreneur is increasingly interest in the influences of group dynamics, founding teams, and collective entrepreneurial action. We see a myriad of new directions for entrepreneurship research that explore the idea that entrepreneurship emerges as a function of collective action. These nascent terms consider a multiple actors' role when analyzing the entrepreneurial function, exploring such variables as network ties, path dependence, social context, local origins, community dynamics, and joint conceptualization of entrepreneurial opportunities. As frameworks for analyzing entrepreneurship broaden to include mention of collective aspects, researchers and practitioners rely more heavily quickly on the term collective entrepreneurship. But what is collective entrepreneurship? Okay. At first glance, collective entrepreneurship appears to be a new term that combines business risk and capital investment with the social values of collective action. Although the subject of collective entrepreneurship is a relatively new phenomenon, researchers have shown great interest in studying it. I would say the predominant motivations for research in collective entrepreneurship fall into 5 general categories, as you see in this slide. The first one, theoretical advancement, inter-organizational efficiency, inter-organizational gains, economic growth and development, and socio-political change. While these categories are not meant to be mutually exclusive, they allow us to present the reader with a simple framework to more readily understand the nature of current streams of research in collective entrepreneurship, their theoretical underpinnings and their practical benefits. Let me to talk about an amazing fact. Entrepreneurship is frequently and originally collective. More popular is the notion that entrepreneurship is frequently collective rather than a solo endeavor. This argument for the study of collective entrepreneurship considers the probability of collective entrepreneurship is greater than the likelihood of solo entrepreneurship. That is, the percentage of new ventures developed by a single individual is small concerning the portion of venture developed through collaboration among multiple entrepreneurial actors. In this context, numerous actors seizing an entrepreneurial opportunity jointly are viewed as collective entrepreneurs. Due to prevalence of various entrepreneurs acting together, scholars are admonished to put the lone hero myth into perspective. The field of entrepreneurship would address a large portion of entrepreneurial activity if the emphasis placed on scholarly research of collective entrepreneurship were to mimic its frequency in our society regarding solo entrepreneurship. Considering this reality, scholars argue an investigation focused on teams' role, collective ideation, collective efficiency, collective learning, collective cognition, and collective action may be a better mechanism for advancing the theory of entrepreneurship than a research agenda focused on the solo entrepreneurship. Collective entrepreneurship has been of increasingly interest to cooperative studies and social economy researchers as of late, especially given the lingering global economic crisis and the search for more robust community-centered and member-owned and controlled alternative organizational models. One reason for the turn to cooperative among researchers is the evidence suggesting that the collective entrepreneurialism inherent to this type of democratically managed organizations, inherent to the type of, as I say, democratically managed organizations undergrade their resilience during market failure or challenging economic times being particularly advantageous for meeting the needs of underserved communities. According to David Cannell, as you see in this slide, in 1999, in an early theorization of the term, collective entrepreneurship combines business risk and capital with the social values of collective action. It exists when collective action aims for the economic and social betterment of a locality for the production of goods and services by an enterprise. It is a combination of collective risk-taking, resource pooling, and action rooted in social values and objectives that makes collective entrepreneurship a compelling angle from which to approach the development of new cooperative initiatives. Researchers have been finding that collective entrepreneurship contributes to resilience in the cooperative movement, as well as cooperative entrepreneurship merges the collective risk-taking and resource pooling of collective entrepreneurship with the organizational form of cooperatives, which we can say further catalyzes and guides to type of entrepreneurship that occurs through them. Moreover, I can add the theory of cooperative entrepreneurship itself draws on and contributes to the still nascent intersection of collective entrepreneurship and social movement research. Our cooperative entrepreneurship concept forms a subset of broader concepts of social or collective enterprise and entrepreneurship. Social economy researchers have adopted different terms and definitions when referring to and analyzing business activities with socially driven values, objectives, and entrepreneurialism. Variably terms as social enterprises, social economy businesses, benefit corporations, and numerous other terms. What brings together these forms of social businesses are vital social missions and objectives supported in part by market activity and other sources of support, such as grants, government fundings, donations, membership fees, or voluntary labor. Collective entrepreneurship closely interests with and often emerges from social movements. For instance, cooperatives are one type of social business that has been understood as emerging from the organizational needs of collective actions to achieve social change. But social movement theory, and particularly theories of social movement organizations, has only recently been tapped for explaining the emergence and organizational structures of cooperatives and social enterprises. Excuse me. For students of entrepreneurship, according to ICA, cooperatives are businesses owned and run by and for their members, whether the members are the customers, employees, or residents. They have an equal say in what the business does and a share in the profits. We thus argue, as does Cannell, as you see in this slide, that cooperative are the clearest example of collective entrepreneurship. Indeed, we extend this to suggest that the cooperative model itself is conducive to meeting social objectives and can be seen as the organizational or business extension of social movement. Of course, we have to notice that agreement reached by cooperatives members around common objectives, as well as the international cooperative alliances, cooperatives principles, which all formal cooperative projects adhere to enable and catalyze collective action within groups, helping to bring together social capital and collective entrepreneurship to engage them in a mutually strengthening relationship. This relationship facilitated by the cooperative form itself is particularly in tune with the organizational goals and needs of social movements and social change projects. Cooperatives are known after all to confer positive externalities and economic and social outcome for communities. And I don't know why this skip the. Okay. According to ICA principles, as an extension of the cooperative entrepreneurial spirit, we found that healthy participation occurs between cooperatives and community organizations, with new cooperatives, extensive and promising cooperative to community and cooperative to cooperative collaborations happening with new cooperatives in the world today. Moreover, the cooperative to cooperative collaborations between new cooperatives and older and newer cooperatives show promise for sharing experiences and extending support. Thus, we can safely say that ICA principles, 6 cooperatives cooperating, and 7 community engagement are alive and well with young cooperatives in the world today. Indeed, this is not just an excellent idea to aspire to for new cooperatives, but out in many ways. And as a conclusion, based on the role and importance of cooperatives in social and economy development, as you see in this slide, I hope the results of this webinar and the same events and future studies in this matter could further foster community-centered development models rooted in cooperatives, also articulating the cooperative advantage for community development. We believe that future research that continues to bridge cooperative entrepreneurship with social movement initiatives should equally be of interest to the organization and cooperative studies researchers, policymakers, cooperative apex organizations, and cooperative promoters. Actually, the social mission-driven cooperatives have conceptual and practical connections to social movement organizations. Both emerge from collective action to overcome inequality, social economic gaps, and deliver on social objectives. The cooperative entrepreneurship that thoughtfully enduring new cooperative development in the world closely intersects with and often emerge from out of broader social movements. The intersection of collective entrepreneurial endeavors with more general social activities is at the heart of cooperative entrepreneurship. At the end, I would like to invite entrepreneurship students to choose collective entrepreneurship in the context of cooperatives as a novel topic for their research. Thank you for your attention. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. It was very good to have very good insights from the academic background of the cooperative entrepreneurship, and also having these ideas related to the principles of the cooperatives in different academic backgrounds. Dr. Hosseini Mia is a great speaker at the entrepreneurship subjects, And in his presentation, we saw the connection between the cooperative development and also the poverty eradication that can be resulted in the society. It's also very good to have an academic-related professor at this webinar to see the connection between the knowledge and also the universities and the students and also cooperatives on the other hand. Thank you, Dr. Hussein Nia. And now I would like to invite Dr. Reza Inejad, who is one of the top entrepreneurs and cooperatives in Iran. He's currently the PhD candidate in ICT management and CEO of Pishkaman Cooperative Group. Pishkaman Cooperative Group, with more than 50,000 shareholders and creating 800 direct and 5,000 indirect jobs, is one of the frontiers in ICT industry of Iran. This cooperative is a member and also holds several national and international honors in ICT in the cooperative sector. Also, as some of the social activities of this cooperative can be mentioned as producing stone-made papers, holding scientific and educational courses, supplying drinking and industrial water from seawater, supporting cultural and sports activities, sponsoring startup teams, producing green energy from renewable sources, and supporting elite orphans. Dr. Reza Nejad, the floor is yours.
Greetings, everybody, and thank you all. Pishkaman Cooperative Group has used cooperative using people's funds in form of investor share cooperatives and has gained 50,000 funds. In this form of cooperative, the entrepreneurs, in terms of the activities they do and the company do, they are responsible for the activities. In the documents of the corporation, the micro investors and other sorts of investors are specified. We use this capacity to do different activities. In terms of information technology, we have certificates. In terms of internet, we have international hotspot and optical fibers, and we are one of the international operators in the region. We have initiated optical fiber from Oman to Chabahar in Iran. We provide customs services, logistic clearance, transportation, refrigerated warehouses. In terms of productive activities, we have some corporations manufacturing lighting products. We have the first stone paper factory in Iran, the paper which is made from stone in the country. In pioneer businesses, we have the expansion of business atmospheres and startups, online shopping, and also selling of fruit throughout the country in terms of electronic selling. Also, we have transferred water from Oman Sea. Tickets for post cooperatives in Iran. We have used the people's funds in form of activities, and we have invested in these activities. Of social responsibilities, we have supported homeless people. We have produced paper from a stone in terms of sports activities. We have sports clubs, and we sponsor sports, and we have our customers clubs. We give them special services. Also, we have vocational educations. We sponsor the start. In terms of producing green energies, we have power to produce solar and local solar energies in order to provide the energy needed. And somehow we use the sunlight of the country in order to provide renewable energies and green energies. These small funds, micro capitals that the investors have part of the investings in our country, but they provide 70% of our liquidity, and they are shareholders of our company. This is a model of entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, a modern kind of social entrepreneurship. This kind of entrepreneurship, in fact, is that economic entrepreneurs are the micro investors. This type of providing the capital is called social entrepreneurship, but the responsibilities are on the shoulder of the micro investors and the economic activists. This, I hope this will help the cooperative of the country, and in the near future we could see that cooperative could provide 20% of the economy of the country. With all these activities, we have around 800 direct personnel employees, and we have created 5,000 jobs. And we have made infrastructures for the sustainable development of the country. Thank you all very much for the time that you have given me.
Thank you, Dr. Reza Nejad. In fact, it was very good to hear about the activities of the Pishkaman cooperative group, which have been serving as one of the top Iranian cooperatives in Iran, and also working in international platforms as well. It's also very well noted about the social responsibilities of the Pishkaman cooperative, and this is actually bringing a lot of honor for us to have a speaker from Pishkaman. Now I would like to invite Dr. Tioge Sipa, who is the regional director of ICA in Africa region. She holds a PhD in strategic management and has had over 25 years of work experience across communication, aviation, humanitarian services, academia, agriculture, and cooperatives development. She also served as a senior lecturer and examiner in several universities in Africa. She's widely traveled in promotion of higher education, agriculture and cooperatives development, and marketing. She has also consulted for various local and international organizations, both profits and non-profits, and policy advocacy and reform, organizational development, business, resource mobilization, and alternative financial instruments in human and sustainable development. Dr. Sipa is the immediate former EU representative on the European Commission Policy Forum on Development, EFD, and former cooperatives representative and social Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific European Commission Follow-up Committee of the European Commission, regional aliens in Africa, currently leading the development and operationalization of the Aliens Africa Agricultural Cooperative Organization, a vehicle for smallholder producers, their livelihoods, and play a greater role in meeting the growing demand on local, national, and international markets, and to contribute to poverty, alleviation, and the eradication of hunger. That's a long biography of Dr. Sifa. The floor is yours. I hope we can use the full comment to bring to the audience of this webinar.
The invitation that we received from our colleague from ICC Iran, and as well as ICA Africa, ICA Asia Pacific region. It has been a pleasure for us to share some of the experiences that we have had so far from Africa, as far as the topic, which is collective entrepreneurship through cooperatives. I'm trying to share my screen. I think I don't have the hosts right yet.
No, you are the host.
Yes, but I'm unable to share my screen. I don't know why. Just 1 minute. Yes, now I'm able. Thank you very much. I hope you can see my screen.
It's actually loading.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. As I was saying, we truly appreciate this invitation and the opportunity to share some of our experiences that we have had in Africa vis-a-vis the topic, which is collective entrepreneurship through cooperatives. But please allow me first, because I have just come second after Balu, my colleague Balu, on the floor to give some background information about who we are as ICA and what we have done, or who we are as well as an organization, and what we are vis-a-vis this topic. So I would like first to give this background information by stating that the International Cooperative Alliance is the oldest non-governmental organization to secure the observer status with the United Nations. We are here to unite cooperative worldwide, and we are the custodian of the cooperative values and principles, which my predecessors have alluded to. We are the voice of the cooperatives, and we were established in 1895, so we are older than, we are more than 26 years old. Currently, the cooperative movement represents 12% of the humanity. So 12% of the population in the world are cooperative members. That is quite a lot. So we are quite a force to reckon with. And in terms of business, we have heard that our only 300 largest cooperatives in the world have got the annual turnover of 2.14 trillion. So far, we have 3 million cooperatives, cooperative organizations, which represent the 12% of the population of the world. That is as far as ICA Global is concerned. Maybe for some, just to also make some background information, we are headquartered in Brussels. We have 4 regional organizations. the Asia Pacific, which is headquartered in New Delhi. We have got the African region, which is headquartered in Nairobi, where I'm currently presenting from. We have got the Americas office headquartered in Costa Rica, and finally the European office, which is also equally headquartered in Brussels, just like the head office. Now coming back to the ICA Africa, which I'm representing here, and once again, we appreciate the invitation. The ICA Africa serves to unite, develop, and promote cooperative throughout the continent. So we cover the 54 African countries, though some are members, some are not, some have they registered depending on the situation because there are requirements which have to be fulfilled. Currently, we have got 41 members in Africa, spread across 23 countries. In terms of strategic goals, currently we are pursuing the 9 goals which have just elapsed. So we are in the process of consolidating these 9 goals and try to realign them to the new normal, but also the changing environments. So basically, moving forward from the 2021, moving forward, some of these goals will be consolidated. But so far, these are the ones which we have been pursuing. One which is the access to finance, education and skills, member service. When you look at them, they are almost mirroring some of the principles of cooperatives, which were alluded to by my predecessors. We are talking also about infrastructure development, because in Africa, as you know, that is where we are suffering the most, and which becomes an impediment to the development or the acceleration of development in Africa. Regional integration is also in our forefront, and this pegged to what we call as the African Union Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, with the new African the African continent free trade area, which has just come into force since January 2021. Regional integration is in the forefront of the agenda, both from the politician but also the cooperative movement in Africa. We are also pursuing as goal number 6, international participation in trade and investment. And we are looking really forward toward the world in general, but more specifically the Asian continent, first because they were where we are not long ago. Second, though we don't have empirical evidence, we truly believe that the cooperative movement has contributed toward the development or the acceleration of development of the Asian tigers. So basically, for us, we like to learn more, and we have opened up very much so toward the Asian Pacific continent, and we are very keen on the same in terms of cooperation among our cooperatives. Strategic goal number 7, we also talk about knowledge-based development. We have had my predecessors talking by and large being from India, but also from Iran, about the data and the importance of digitization of cooperatives. And as a continent ourselves, we are also very keen on the same. And more so during this pandemic area, we have come to learn that indeed, unless you are digitized, then you cannot cope moving forward with the new current and the new normal. Intellectual property as well is one of our goals, and finally, organization development and capacity building, which again, if you look at it keenly, speaks to principle number 5 of the cooperative movement. I would like now to go deep into maybe touching now on the subject of today, which is collaborative entrepreneurship. And before I could go further onto talking about the topic, I would like to first state, or rather rephrase what Professor from Iran University, who quoted the Cornell 1999, had said that the collective entrepreneurship, the cooperative is a good example of collective entrepreneurship. And I would like to assert the same or affirm the same, but rather also paraphrasing and saying that collective enterprise is indeed in the DNA of cooperatives. And it has been demonstrated by my predecessors, those who have spoken before me, when they quoted the principle number 3, which is economic member participation. That is already entrepreneurship. And when also they quoted principle number 6 and 7, namely cooperation among cooperatives and concern for the community. But I would like to take you back on the definition of cooperatives. And remember, cooperative is about two or more people or entities coming together to address their socioeconomic need. In fact, we talk now about socioeconomic and environmental need. So basically, by definition itself, you can see that a cooperative it's already collective. It is collective, and when you go to the principles, it becomes collective entrepreneurship. So that is the very nature, and that is why I say collective entrepreneurship is in the DNA of cooperatives. And also in Africa, for the simple reason that we have got limited resources. Here we are talking about resources which can transform our economies. We might be having some of the natural resources, but unless they are turned into economic resources, then we are not able. And that is why for us, human capital, and again, comes and features prominently in the Agenda 2063, where I would like to see now address some of these limitations that we are having through human development in Africa. And by doing so, that is pulling our resources together, and that is already the cooperative spirit. So as you know, the role of cooperative, they provide the local employment, and again, Africa is trailing in terms of, or depending on how you want to look at it, trailing in terms of employment, but leading in terms of unemployment. So unless we work together in Africa, and we cannot address the issue of employment. There is also another characteristic for cooperative entrepreneurship, which could change the fortune of Africans, for the simple reason that cooperatives are business-centered businesses, people-centered businesses. So the cooperative puts people at the heart of the decision-making, and not the profits. And for so doing, because they are the owners and the most likely also the users of the cooperatives. The other point is that cooperatives are tried and tested model. Remember, we have said we have been the IC itself dates back to 1895, but prior to that, we have had different forms of cooperatives. That is people working together, but as a modern enterprise, more than 125 years of being tested and proven by the result of the 300, the largest cooperative. Definitely, this is a model we don't need to advocate for anymore, but rather to implement, to embrace and implement. Cooperative also have been supporting in establishment of empowering the communities, like we said, because they come from their SBOs. They come from the communities, the community which felt the need to group their resources together and address the problem that they are facing. So basically, you can see that they are, beside being private entities, they are also SBOs, and they are able to transform our community, then also the rural communities, like we have seen in the case of IFCO for India. We are also very much anticipative that leveraging on the African continental free trade area, cooperative will be able to help Africa address the issue of intra-trade, as we are the continent which is trailing in terms of doing business among ourselves. I would like to finish my presentation by giving you some few practical examples that we have done from our office in terms of promoting the collective entrepreneurship through cooperative. And this was done through the project which we termed Global Cooperative Entrepreneurs. It's a project which involves all the ICA families, that is, and regions, that is our region and the head office, and also the other regions, that is Asia Pacific, Americas, and Europe. And what we have been doing so far is it has been to mentor the youth. We have been able to identify some youth or youth association, and also implement the entrepreneurship training via vocational education, that is the VET, because in Africa, almost all the African countries in their strategic outlook, they are talking about industrialization, and it also features quite prominently at the continental level, that is the Agenda 2063. And industrialization in Africa will not happen unless we address the issue of vocational education. And through vocational education, we also embed that with entrepreneurship. It's only in so doing that, and that is collective entrepreneurship for that matter. It's only in so doing that we can talk about accelerating the development of economic developments and growth of African region. So as a region, that is the ICA Africa, we have been conducting capacity building initiative for the said group of young people, and this is the aim of addressing the three specific SDGs. That is the Sustainable Development Goal number 4. That is the skill number 8. That is entrepreneurship and decent employment, and finally the SDG number 17, which is a partnership. We have started with 2 countries so far, and our members are up and they have already implemented, some of them, the activities on the ground. And these are Uganda and Zimbabwe. In Uganda, we have had so far example of 4 gentlemen who are the group leaders. One is, and these group leaders have started cooperative, that is the collective entrepreneurship through cooperatives in different sectors. We have heard from our colleague from IFCO, who had said that cooperatives operate in all the sectors of the economy, which is very true. And for that, they give them, then they have got that capacity of transforming or developing and growing the economies very fast. These 4 examples give us good illustration on, because they have started in 4 different, 4 youth group in Uganda, and all of them, they have started in different sectors of the economies. The very first one, which is led by Eddie Balidawa, with 47 youth members, them they have focused on agribusiness. And it's a project is already up and running, though it has been slowed down a bit by the COVID-19 because of some of the registration processes, but in terms of implementation, groundwork, they have progressed quite well. The second one, where we have a female group leader, she has been also able to mobilize 44 youth, and then they are more on the financial cooperatives. So they have started a youth financial cooperatives, and they draw their membership from all walks of life, from medical, teachers, hardware shop, farming, and other players. And that is also a good example on how one is thinking about an agriculture, another one is thinking about access to finance or financial cooperatives. And again, this particular group also is progressing well and pending the lifting of some of the restrictions from COVID-19 lockdown in Uganda. The fourth group leader, Agri Amayobwana, has also managed to mobilize 40 youth, and they are in the business of, they have been rather able to also tap into a very particular and interesting sector, that is the manufacturing sector. This group is on steelworks. The youth have come together to bring their knowledge and expertise, and they've been already there is good responses. They're having some good customers in steelworks. You can see that they can think. You can think wide, large, and they be able to leverage on the cooperative model and be able to address the need of the community and your personal need as well in the process. The third group in we have another group in, I said there are 4, another group in, we have the group of agribusiness in Uganda, followed by finance. We also have the steelwork, so there are 3. The last one, the last one is in Zimbabwe. Hello?
Yes, can I ask you to please change your slide as well, because we are stuck in one slide.
Sorry. Is it changing? Hello?
Can you please change it now?
Is it changing?
Not yet.
Then it means it has freezed. Sorry for that. I will finish because it's just an example. I don't want to. It's okay now. Thank you. I would like to finish by. Sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to finish with the example from Zimbabwe, where we also have our star youth leader. He has been able to come up through the assistance of the ICA IGC program. He has been able to facilitate the creation of 3 cooperatives, one again in steelworks, another one in financials, and another one in agriculture. And last but not least, we have Tendai Waramba, our group leader from Zimbabwe Steel. She's from the differently abled young lady who, despite the physical challenges, has been able to create a cooperative for the physically disabled, or we can call differently abled people in our communities, and they have started the sale of rabbits. So I would like to say to finish my presentation by saying that Africa is on the move and would like to be looked at not as the raw material and mineral and wealth continent, but rather the continent which has used its human resource in changing its fortunes. And this will be largely done by the youth, because we are the youth, the youngest continent on the earth, and that is why purposely the ICA Africa has invested and is working mostly with the young people in addressing the issue of collective entrepreneurship. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Sifa. It was very good to have comments from Africa region. In our regional cooperation, we have Africa by our side, and this is always appreciated. And your hard work in promoting the cooperatives in Africa region is also well appreciated. It's also to remind the audience about the SDGs and how the cooperatives are trying to help achieving the SDGs, and especially in the the continent of, especially as called as youngest continent, it is very important to include youth in their promotion of the cooperatives and also inclusion of youth in their decision making. Thank you very much, Dr. Sifa. Before going to the next, I was actually reading about a village in Japan, which is called Ogimi. This village has the longest lived human on Earth. And they have been analyzing to see what is the reason of the people are living so much long in this village in Japan. One of the secrets to living long was the idea of working together. And whatever people were doing in that village in Africa, they were trying to do it all together with their cooperation. In introduction, I would like to invite Mr. Osamu Nakano from Japan, and he is the Director of International Relations at Japan Workers Cooperative Union, as we call it, JWCU. He holds a bachelor's degree in history and a master's degree in comparative literature. After conducting historical research at New York University, he joined JWCU in 2014. He has been in his present position since July 2017. He is concurrently serving as a board member of JWCU. Now he is also as a staff member of Japan Cooperative Alliance, or JCA, the apex organization of all cooperatives in Japan that was established. They have recently got approval of their parliament regarding on the workers' co-op, and this is actually congratulations to Japan. And Osamu, my friend, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Ali Reza. And can you see my presentation file?
Yes. Thank you.
You see, right? Okay. And and first of all, thank you very much for my friends of ICC, Iran Chamber of Cooperatives. It's a really great honor for us, JWCU, Japan Workers Cooperative Union, to be invited to this great webinar, to these great opportunities. And actually, Mr. Baru Ayer and Ali Reza already mentioned. So recently in Japan, so the new cooperative law, a new law on workers' cooperative was passed. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about workers' cooperative movement in Japan, and also, the new Worker Cooperative Act in Japan. Okay. This is overall picture of Japan Workers Cooperative Union, JWCU. JWCU is a national center, national federation of workers cooperative in Japan. And JWCU is established in 1979. And right now, so we have over almost 16,000 individual workers. And among them, almost 10,000 workers are members, and 6,000 workers are non-member workers. And the Workers Cooperative in Japan, so we also have over 450 business centers throughout the country. And our turnover is almost 330 million US dollars. And obviously, we are a member of ICA, ICAP, and the CCOPA, and the Japan Cooperative Alliance. And the Japan Cooperative Alliance, JCA, actually JCA was established in 2018. So this is a new apex organization of all cooperative in Japan, including agricultural, consumer, and financial cooperative in Japan. All right. And so I'm going to explain, business fields of workers cooperatives in Japan. So actually, workers' cooperatives in Japan, so we are engaged mainly in the so-called social service. And recently, this, social service are described as essential works. So in any case, yes, workers' cooperative in Japan, we are engaged in, care fields in broad sense. As you can see, so we are doing various kinds of elderly care and child care and support business support work for people with disability and youth with social difficulties and poor and needy. And we are also doing operation. We are also operating public facilities, many public facilities in Japan, including senior centers, community centers, and so on. And also some of workers cooperative in Japan, so they are doing cleaning business and logistic service. And so as you can see, so as I told you, as I said, so in this manner, workers cooperative in Japan, so we are engaged in social works, care works in the broad sense, or essential works. And at the same time, right now, recently, we are trying to develop a new business field, such as community-based forest management and farming, and renewable energy business. All right. Okay, and so we are calling our working style as associated work. And associated work, this picture describes how associated work is working. So this is pretty clear, in workers cooperative or in associated work, one worker members is doing 3 activities. Making a capital contribution and creating their or our business by using such a capital contribution, by using such a money. And then, he or she is working in their own business. And then, he or she, is involved in management. So this is this is not unique to workers cooperative in Japan. So this is a kind of a basic style of one of workers cooperative in the world. And JWCU defines associated work as follows. Here's a definition. It's a new way of working to create enterprises in which each person could be a master of his or her own life. It's a way of linking the needs of human life, local communities, and their difficulties, such that everybody jointly contributes to building capital, managing business democratically, and sharing responsibilities. And that was the definition, our definition of associated work, right? And then we, JWCU, define ourselves as cooperatives of associated work. So here is the definition of cooperatives of associated work. Actually, means workers cooperative in Japan, Japanese workers cooperatives. Cooperatives of associated work aim at a way of working in cooperation and solidarity, through which we citizens create a job necessary for people and local communities. As free subjects of local community, we do good or decent work to build a society in which we live and work together. Cooperative of associated work places the greatest value on the dignity of human life, decent work, and livelihood. So the most fundamental aim of cooperative of associated work, a worker cooperative in Japan, is to create a sustainable local community in which no one is excluded and isolated, through job creation and good work by cooperating with local residents. So this is a basic definition or basic concept of workers cooperative in Japan. by JWCU. Okay, and actually members of workers' cooperative JWCU include those who are having various disabilities and difficulties. For instance, mental, physical disabilities, alcoholism, Asperger's syndrome, drug dependence, HIV, or members includes ex-prisoners, ex-homeless, the youth with social difficulties, and so on. So almost 10% or 9% or 10% of total members are having these kind of difficulties and disabilities. So in this regard, we workers cooperative in Japan, so we are trying to create job opportunities for those who are having such a difficult conditions and situations. And upper left, for instance, there are 3 guys in the picture, and they are having they had in the past alcoholism or mental disabilities. And then lower left, there are 2 young guys in the picture, and they actually in the past they didn't go to school, and they just stay in their room for so many years, 10 years and more than 10 years, and then they refuse any kind of social relationship. So however they become a member of workers cooperatives, and right now they are working as a member. And upper left there are 3 people, and this is elderly care center run by workers cooperatives. And the one guy, young guy, actually he has Asperger's syndrome. And however, he is working in workers cooperative and in this care center as a member. And middle woman, actually, she's 80 years old. So however, she's still working as a member of workers cooperative here, right? So in this manner, so workers cooperative in Japan, so we have developed our movements and business for almost past 40 years. So in order to create job opportunities and decent work for people with difficult situations and difficult conditions. And however, so in the past, there has not been a law on workers cooperative in Japan so far. So we have thus developed our movements and the business, and the different corporate laws for SME cooperatives and NPO, non-profit organizations, and so forth. So however, obviously, so we need workers cooperatives, so we need our own law. So we have advocated for a specific corporate law for workers cooperative in Japan for almost 20 years. Then last year, June 12th, worker cooperative bill was submitted to the House of Representatives by 15 politicians with the support of 53 politicians from all political parties. The bill was deliberated by the Health and Labor Committee in both houses and was finally passed by the House of Councillors on December 4th last year with the agreement with agreement of all parties. So this is the law. This act is pretty big. Actually, the act consists of 171 articles. This is a very big article. This is a very big act, and the passage of this act is very historic, or is very epoch-making in the history of cooperative movement in Japan, cooperative movement in Japan as a whole, because it's a new cooperative act in Japan for the last 42 years, since 1978, when Foreign Street Cooperative Act was enacted. And here is Article 1. And so this Article 1 prescribes the objective of this act. And you can see, based on the current situation in which opportunities to work according to individual motivation and ability while maintaining harmony with life are not always secured sufficiently. The purpose of this act is to provide the necessary matters such as establishment, management, and others, concerning the organizations of which the fundamental principle is that the members make capital contribution to them, and their businesses are conducted by reflecting the opinions of the members, and that the members themselves are engaged in their business. So these are red characters. Here is an official definition of workers' cooperatives in Japan, legal or official definitions. And then, we can see, three objectives here. First objective of this act or workers' cooperatives is to promote the creation of diverse employment opportunities. And then second objective is to promote the implementation of business to meet diverse demands in local communities. And thereby, final objective or most crucial purpose of this act or workers' cooperative in Japan is to contribute to the realization of sustainable and vibrant communities. And this picture explains the difference between associated work in the law, in the act, and the so-called employed work. So difference is pretty clear, I think. The so-called employed work, in the words, working style in private company, joint stock companies. In employed work, investment, work, and management are separated from each other, right? And there are three, also investors, managers, employees, in other words, workers, are also completely separated. And on the other hand, under associated work in the act, so there's a unity of capital contribution and work and management. And you can see worker members could work in worker members, they have to make capital contribution, and they could work in worker cooperatives, and they could get wages from their worker cooperatives. And on the other hand, they have to say their opinion to the management of worker cooperatives. And objective as a purpose of two ways of working is totally different. And as I already mentioned, workers in worker cooperative act in Japan, creation of diverse employment opportunities. In other words, first purpose of workers cooperative in Japan is to create employment opportunities for various peoples, diverse peoples, including elderly people with disabilities, women, and youth with social difficulties, and so on. And second purpose is to implement business to meet diverse demands in local communities. And these business includes elderly care, child care, and community development business. In other words, business we, JWCU, or workers cooperative, we have already done. And finally, final purpose is the realization of sustainable and vibrant communities. Okay, but almost 15 minutes, but I want to say a little bit about some points on, according to this new act, workers cooperatives have to have a labor contract with its worker members and assure them dignity at work and decent work. Because I'm not sure, labor laws in the world. So, however, at least in Japan, according to labor law, workers are employees, and so in this regard, workers, employees have to make labor contract with their employers, and in this sense, they can be protected by labor laws. And however, at the same time, they have to be under the direction and supervision of the their employers, at least in formal sense. So in this regard, worker members in workers' cooperative in Japan, so we need social protection or workers' protection, like minimum wages, legal working hours, accident insurance, and employment insurance. So in this regard, the act prescribes, so worker members or workers' cooperatives have to have a labor contract. And however, on the other hand, at the same time, the business of, as I told you, the business of worker cooperatives must be conducted by reflecting the opinions of their worker members. So from worker members, they could be involved in the management by saying their opinions to managers or directors, and moreover, so it's pretty obvious. They have a right, the right of participating in the decision-making process under the principle of one member, one vote, at, for instance, as a General Assembly. So in this sense, under this act, within the between, there's a certain kind of fair mutual relationship in worker members and representative director worker cooperatives. So under current labor laws in Japan, this is very sophisticated, we think, sophisticated legal expressions of the structure of workers' cooperatives. All right, and there are several features, and so you can, as you know already pretty well, this law strongly reflect the seventh cooperative principle, the cooperative work for the sustainable development of their communities through policies approved by the members. This is ICA seventh cooperative principle, as you know. And moreover, so this act is strongly reflects the SDGs. So it's pretty clear. And I'm sure in Japan, this is the first cooperative law or first law in which the spirit of sustainable SDG is clearly written. And I'm not sure in the world. So, however, I think there is not many still yet. So this kind of law act in the world in which the spirit of SDG is clearly written. All right, and one more character of this act. This act adopts the so-called principle-based approach. So the establishment of workers' cooperative is authorized when the conditions defined in the act are met. This sharply contrasts with other cooperative law in Japan. Under other cooperative law in Japan, they can be established upon approval from the governmental ministries in charge. So in this regard, people or citizens, people can be established, can establish workers' cooperatives, so without any kind of governmental approval. So this is kind of, there's a kind of freedom for cooperatives. All right, and moreover, at the minimum, just only 3 founders and 1 member, just 4 members in total can establish worker cooperatives by, again, just submitting necessary documents to the registry office. So this is, in other words, very small members, very small members can establish very small workers cooperative or very small cooperatives by following this law. And by contrast, for instance, in Japanese law, agricultural cooperatives and consumer cooperatives, in order to establish these cooperatives, so for instance, we need correct several hundred founders, for instance. So it's pretty tough, it's pretty difficult. And on the other hand, by contrast, establishment of workers cooperatives is pretty easy. And no restrictions on business fields in this act. Worker cooperatives can be engaged in all kinds of business if they meet the above-mentioned objectives. I already three objectives, but only except worker dispatching business. So worker cooperatives cannot do this worker dispatching business because according to this act, so worker dispatching business doesn't fit the essential the spirit of this act. All right, and finally, there's no dividend on capital contributions, and surplus is accumulated as a job employment creation first, and education training fund on second, and the remaining is distributed to members depends on the amount of use and transaction with the cooperative business, i.e., namely the amount of work. So at the same time, this law act so prescribes worker cooperatives must not carry out their business for profit. In other words, this act is emphasizing non-profit character of workers' cooperatives. All right, so the passage of this act is great news for cooperative movement in Japan as a whole. And ICA, ICAP, and the CECOPA, and many national federation of cooperatives, including ICC, gave us, JWCU, congratulatory message. Thank you very much. And ILO also released a news article on their website, which is entitled "The Passage of the Worker Cooperative Bill in Japan is Celebrated Around the World." So thank you so much, for everyone. And finally, the act will be effective in 2 years from now. So we have to prepare so many issues, but at least it's expect many worker cooperatives will be established under the new act, contributing to the great development of cooperative movement in Japan and great development of collective entrepreneurship through cooperative in Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Osamu, for your very comprehensive information about the recent act in the cooperatives in Japan. I actually didn't want to intervene because the idea of so audience to see how working and going on in Japan. So actually, I believe December 4th will be a very important history in Japan's cooperatives. We as the cooperators, JWCU or JCA, or in general the ICA, we have a lot of work to promote this idea and the act in the cooperatives in Japan. And this is really deserving a very big congratulations to you and all the hard work done. So thank you for your comprehensive information. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ander Etexperia Otudui. Sorry, I'm with the last name. So Ander has been the head of Mondragon's cooperative outreach program for the last 5 years. Annually, he serves approximately 2,000 people who want to become acquainted with the Mondragon cooperative experience. He also lectures in universities and other forums around the world. Prior to assuming his current post, Ander worked as personnel management for 11 years at the Ikereland Technology Center, another cooperative of the Mondragon Corporation. Before that, he worked in a training position for 7 years at the Mondragon Cooperative Center. He studied technical engineering at Mondragon University and sociology at Diosto University. So Ander, with this brief introduction, I would like to ask you to please know how the cooperatives in Japan are doing and how you have been successful in creating jobs for your members and also for your society. It's great to have you. The floor is yours.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be in this conference. Mondragon. We are 96 cooperatives, different kind of cooperatives: industrial, credit, consumer, agricultural, educational, research and development, services. Many cooperatives, especially industrial cooperatives, have subsidiaries around the world. We have 141 subsidiaries. These companies abroad are not cooperatives. Cooperatives are 96 and are in the Basque Country, in the north of Spain, in the south of Europe. And then we have 23 umbrella companies. How many people are we working in Mondragon? 81,000 workers. not all of them members. And what is our income? More or less every year, 12,000 million euros. I'm a member of a cooperative. We are worker cooperatives. I'm a member of a cooperative. The cooperative is Mondragon headquarters, from where I'm talking now. And we are serving the group. We work for the group. How many people are we working at the headquarters in this cooperative? Only 60 people to serve 81,000 people in the whole group. Why only 6 people? Because cooperatives are autonomous. We are a group of companies that are friends, and companies are together because they think that is better. It's better for their present and for their future. What is our mission? We want to create wealth and transform the society through entrepreneurial development and job creation. This is what we want to do. This is what we are doing since 1956. And that means that we are doing entrepreneurship and intra-entrepreneurship, because in the last decades, most of the jobs that we have created inside our cooperatives. Not many new cooperatives, but inside our cooperatives, we have created many new businesses and thousands of jobs. To create new companies, to create new cooperatives, to create new jobs, we must be strong, and we are stronger together. How? For example, we share the best practices of our cooperatives with the rest of the cooperatives of the group. For example, at the moment, we are working in cybersecurity, the sustainable development goals, or for example, in the compliance issue, sharing this knowledge between our cooperatives. We have together delegations abroad. We have delegations in, for example, India, in China, in Russia. We have a platform cooperative. The name of the platform cooperative is Ategi, and Ategi is for us, so we can buy in Ategi electricity, gas, office suppliers, or screws, many things, in a cheaper price, of course. This is the power of the group. Then we have some mechanisms that we share between us. For example, relocation of workers. I'm a member of a cooperative, and if one day there is a crisis in my case and I have no work in my cooperative, I have the right to work in another cooperative of the Mondragon Group. If there is no work for me in the group, I have the right to be trained, reskilling, to be more employable. And if still there is no work for me in the group, I have the right to get an unemployment benefit for 2 years. No one person in our history has extinguished this 2 years period of unemployment. This is what we call relocation of workers. And then we have what we could say a knowledge ecosystem, because in this area we have schools, cooperative schools, vocational level schools, cooperatives, a cooperative university, and technological and research centers that also are cooperatives. This is a special environment. This ecosystem is not just for Mondragon, but is part of Mondragon and open to everybody, open to the world. What we have only for us is a promotion center. Some of my colleagues at the headquarters are part of the promotion center, and they are thinking about full-time creating new businesses, new companies, new cooperatives. So we are stronger together. And we need finance. We need finance to create new jobs, new companies, new cooperatives. An important mechanism of finance is, once the year is finished in our cooperatives, what we do is pooling of profits with the gross profit, pooling of profits. That enables loss-making cooperatives to receive non-repayable contributions from profit-making cooperatives. Cooperatives that are earning money, they share between 15 and 40% of the profit with the cooperatives that are losing money. This is very important, for example, now in a crisis period. Then that is the first step. The second step is that 14% of the profit of each cooperative goes to Mondragon, to the group. And the group has, thanks to this money, two funds. Half of this money is to provide an investment fund, and the rest is to provide an aid fund. The first one is called Mondragon Investment, and the second one is called Mondragon Foundation. I'm going to talk about these funds now. Not only funds, but we also help one cooperative to another one. If a cooperative has an important cash and another cooperative needs money, this cooperative with this important cash can give the other one a loan with a very low interest. And the warranty is Mondragon. The warranty is the group. And we have internal funds, and we also cooperate with other institutions, with governments, with finance entities, to have in common funds to create jobs. What else? I have mentioned Mondragon Investments and Mondragon Foundations. These are very, very important funds, very, very important funds in a good period and in a crisis period. Mondragon Foundation gives subsidies or makes non-profit investments in Mondragon cooperatives, offsetting losses, so more money for the cooperative that is in trouble, or capital contributions. We use also this fund to finance part of the budget of the cooperative schools, the university, and the university that is also a cooperative. We use these funds to do feasibility analysis of new activities, risky activities. We use these funds to finance part of the budget of the technological and research centers. And we also use these funds to corporate social projects. For example, I'm talking from the Basque Country. Our cooperatives are in the Basque Country, the north of Spain. So we use these funds, for example, to support the Basque language, the native language of this area. This is about Mondragon Foundation, 450 million euros since the creation of this fund in 1994. What about Mondragon Investment? Mondragon Investment is not aid, but is especially loans and capital contribution to boost the development and internationalization of the member cooperatives. So in that case, we put the money in a cooperative, and the cooperative is going to pay back this money in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years. The interest, of course, is a low interest. In the case of Mondragon Foundation, we give money to the cooperative. It is their money, yes? We give them, and they just have to say thank you. In the case of Mondragon Investment, it's an investment, and so they have to pay back the money. We have used, since the creation of this fund in 1988, 938 million euros. Well, and what about the near future? As you probably know, in Europe, there is a program called Next Generation. It is a plan to help repair the economic and social damage caused by the coronavirus. And Mondragon, we have presented 3 projects to this plan. Projects valued at 1,100 million euros. And these are projects in which are involved not 1, 2, 3 cooperatives, but many cooperatives of Mondragon. It's also collective entrepreneurship. The projects are circular economy and sustainability, digitalization, home of the future, and care for people. What we want to do is to contribute to make a better world, a better society, a better community, and thus creating 4,500 jobs. we expect, if we receive this money from Europe, it is our money, money of the citizens. If we receive this money, we expect to create 4,500 jobs. This is what I had to explain you. Thank you very much. Man nun, eskerrik asko.
Thank you, Ander, and thank you for the Farsi word that you have learned. That's nice. But in general, the presentation provided a lot of useful information about the activities that the Mondragon has been doing as one of the leading apex organization in the world. Mondragon is a well-known cooperative organization, and especially with the activities that Mondragon is doing with the investment is interesting for us. Besides, also the activities that the Mondragon is doing for the next generation and including youth in their activities is also well appreciated. Thank you, Ander, for accepting our invitation as a speaker and providing the audience with your fruitful information. Now we are coming to the end of our webinar, but before that we have two well-known and special authorities. Now I would like to invite Mr. Li Chunsheng, who is the President of the ICA in Asia Pacific, Vice President of the ICA in Global, and also Vice President of the All China Federation of Supply and Marketing Cooperatives, or as we call it, ACSMC, holding the rank of Deputy Minister. Mr. Li is committed to promoting win-win cooperation and mutual development between cooperatives in the Asia-Pacific region and also around the world. During his long period of service, he worked with Helihe Farm in Heilongjiang Province, Ministry of Forestry, and the State Council of China. In 1995, he joined ACFSMC as the Deputy Secretary General and the Director of Farm Inputs Bureau. Later assumed office as the Director of International Cooperation Department before being elected as the Vice President of ACFSMC in 2000. Mr. Li Chunsheng, we are very happy to have you as a speaker, and the floor is yours. Please let us know what All China Federation and also Asia Pacific has been doing in creating jobs by the cooperatives.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. President Abdullahi of ICC, our Regional Director, Mr. Balu, and Dr. Safa, colleagues from Cooperative of Iran, fellow cooperators, and friends. It's indeed my pleasure to be part of this webinar. Before I start, please allow me to express my thanks to President Abdullahi and ICC staff for their effort to hosting this webinar. As you can see, it is a webinar that aims to promote international cooperative principle. For me, the notion of collective entrepreneurship and cooperative brings us back to original aspiration of cooperatives, which is reminding us where we stand, where we should go in narrow challenge and uncertainty. Therefore, I'd like to start with my understanding of collective entrepreneurship. The term collective entrepreneurship appeared only recently in the literature of economic and management, which include cooperative and other profit organizations in these three forms, largely due to their economic and social features. This brings us again back between the cooperative and business organizations that we're already familiar with. Let's review natural advantages of cooperative. By definition, cooperative highlighting common need, voluntary participation, and democratic management. Cooperative value and principles serve to gather and unite members. As a result, common recognition with ICA cooperative, an organized entity that ensures benefit its member and whole cooperative communities. The three major features are the key sustainable growth of cooperative because they form and ensure internal motivation of functional joint organizations. For cooperative, it's important to realize that when we talk about collective entrepreneurship, the cooperative model is an effective method that could contribute a lot post-pandemic recovery. To make myself clear, I like to illustrate practices from ACF SMC as example to show how we enhance collective entrepreneurship, giving full play our cooperative advantages. First, I'd like to share some new statistics. According to the second board meeting held in January in 2020, ACF SMC has achieved turnover more than $820 billion and a profit exceeding $8 billion, which increased over 14% and 11% respectively. The achievement was not easy, especially during the hard year, but we do not see it as blessing, but a hard-earned outcome effort for developing functional organizational structure and effective service network. The organizational structure of ACF SMC ran basically in parallel with the National Administrative Division, a 5-tier structure with ACF SMC being national apex. Within system, the high-level federation provides guidance to the lower-level organization, which unite in the bottom manner to form high-level federation. Attached to the system are 20,000 cooperative enterprises, 400,000 rural service centers, and 1 million distribution outlets providing life and production services to the urban and rural residents. The SMC system, the China create approximately 3.5 million jobs nationwide. In recent years, we focus on improving cooperative federation and elevate primary cooperative comprehensive services providers. For many small farms, joint cooperative provide way for the better earning and living. Set up cooperative become good option to start up for some well-educated run home young people. To support the national cooperative network, we promoted our traditional advantages in agricultural production services through cooperation with new type of agribusinesses, such as farmer specialized cooperatives, family farm, and agricultural enterprises. We introduce a land trust approach and provide related management services to ensure proper land use. Large-scale production and farmer earning. Also, leading cooperative enterprises, research institute, and sector association will mobilize supplement. After year development, ACF SMC has grown into comprehensive platform for serving production and life of Chinese farmers. It's fair to say, in an effort to enhance collective entrepreneurship through cooperatives, we not only assist farmer members to start up, but also helps them grow up through our organizational structure and service network. As a major force in serving farmer production and life, ACF SMC has been committed to the cause poverty elevation. Based on the advantage and resources of the system, we adopted various means for the effective and targeted poverty reduction. First, poverty elevation by expanding marketing channel. Second, poverty elevation through e-commerce. We launched online platform, especially for agriculture satellite product from impoverished area, covering all 822 counties below national poverty line. In 2020, the platform achieved transaction value of $1.27 billion. Third, poverty elevation by integrated development industries. Fourth, poverty elevation through technology assistance and education. In the case of ACF SMC, collective entrepreneurship is a complex issue that shouldn't look at isolated way and takes multiple stakeholders of society to the part. Knowing that cooperative is effective method, we need to look into cooperative model, know better about what cooperative can do, and do the best we can for the benefit of wider communities. At last, I'd like to thank ICC again for giving us an opportunity to share and exchange views, and I appreciate you all for insightful contributions. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, President Lee Chum-sheng. It was very good to hear about the activities being done at the All China Federation, ACFSMC, and we were very honored to hear about the activities being done in China, especially with the creation of 303,500,000 jobs in China by creating chain stores and also investment in the e-commerce. Now, I would like to ask the president of the Iran Chamber of Cooperatives, Mr. Abdullahi, to provide us with his comprehensive information about the activities being done at the cooperatives in general in Iran and also with the Chamber of Cooperatives. Before that, I would like to bring a very short bio of him. He has had more than 3 decades of experience in the Iranian cooperative movement as member of the board and chairman of one of Iran's main consumer cooperative unions, and 3 consecutive membership of Iran Chamber of Cooperatives. During his tenure, always tried to develop the cooperative sector, especially the activities of consumer cooperatives in the country. Mr. Abdullahi has been the president of ICC since February 2014. He believes that the development of the cooperative movement in the country will lead to a fair distribution of wealth, reduce the class gap in the society, and increase employment, the quality of life in society. The floor is yours.
In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, first of all, I'd like to extend my greetings to the honorable cooperatives in Iran and other countries of the world who have participated in this webinar. I also would like to say hello to Mr. Lee Chum-sheng and Mr. Balu Ayer, Dr. Sifa, and all the speakers present at this event from different parts of the world. I also need to congratulate the victory of Islamic Revolution to our fellow countrymen. The topic of my speech today is the strategies for cooperatives. I'm so pleased to be with you today on behalf of the non-governmental sector of the Iranian cooperative movement to express my thoughts. Paying attention to entrepreneurship and creation and development of this will be a positive step in order to create a suitable environment to increase national resources, to reduce unemployment, to balance structures, and it can cause the development of cities and villages. In this regard, in Islamic Republic of Iran, the cooperative sector can do this as one of the most effective institutions and promote the entrepreneurial spirit in accordance with the policies of Article 44 of the Constitution. The type of entrepreneurship in this process is not just individual entrepreneurship with the aim of forming, for example, cooperatives, but also it includes other forms of entrepreneurship, such as organizational entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, institutional entrepreneurship, and so on. And there is no profit gain. The profit gain here is considered with respect to certain values. Fortunately, the emphasis and affirmations made on the cooperative sector in the Constitution, according to the Supreme Leader's commands and upstream documents, including the 20-year vision, national development plans, Article 44 policies of the Constitution, and also the national cooperative document provide a very broad horizon on the cooperative sector and the legal requirement in order to achieve a 25% share in the national economy. And the necessity of a development, a kind of fundamental change in our private sector. It seems that the role of our entrepreneurs is very important and can be the driving force for the development of the cooperative economy. It seems that the set of conditions and requirements of our society today, on one hand, and the common programs and goals that exist between the two categories of entrepreneurship and cooperation, on the other hand, make necessity a strategic relationship between these two basic categories. In other words, on one hand, there exists important common goals such as increasing productive employment, economic development, increasing competition in the economy and developing market efficiency, aiding the increase in exports, achieving regional development, reducing monopolies and decentralization, and increasing non-governmental sector participation in the country's economy between entrepreneurship and cooperation. On the other hand, the main factor for the stability and dynamism and success of various activities, including organizations, can bring about a dynamism. The cooperative organization is a movement toward creativity, innovation, and creativity. In other words, entrepreneurs can guarantee the continuity, dynamism, and competitiveness of the cooperative. In the cooperative sector, development document knowledge-based development with special arrangements such as creating and expanding parks and science and technology growth centers. With participation of cooperatives, they can ensure the sustainability of the cooperative. And also the cooperative section can build capacities in order to do entrepreneurship activities. in the development document in Islamic Republic of Iran, there are a special regarding the problems of women, students, in order to create jobs. And also educating and training entrepreneurship, and also creating entrepreneurships, and also creating sectors like that. This can be a framework for and a platform for the development of entrepreneurship in our country. In order to support the entrepreneurs, there are some measures taken in all the subsections, reaching the sources of information, and also IT, giving discount in terms of tax, and also priority of the shares of government, and also creating complexes is being considered, which absolutely, as I mentioned, these capacities and these measures in Iran can be very helpful in the development of the activities in different sectors, as we would see in the past few years, using these legal capacities. We could say that collective entrepreneurship brings a motivation for creativity and a systematic movement in the society. It's a catalyzing movement and creation of wealth and social welfare, happiness and knowledge and innovativeness, all can cause the dynamism of the cooperatives. In this regard, in order to organize Iran Chamber of Cooperatives as the head of entrepreneurs have done many actions with other sectors, and they have done it in the areas that I am going to mention. They have organized the entrepreneurs, they have prepared different organizations, they have taught entrepreneurship, they have taught vocational trainings, and also receiving bank investments. Second, studies with the purpose of recognizing the opportunities and recognizing different brands of internal brands and foreign brands, and also the development of different parts of our cooperative in 10 borderline provinces have been done, and they have been there have been good developments there, and new opportunities have been recognized in our borderline provinces. The third point is using the sources in order to create jobs in different provinces and helping shape the foundations, economic foundations, especially in terms of big workshop complexes and integrated workshops, and in terms of cooperatives. These are the activities that are being done, and we hope that the cooperative activities in the country are developed, and hopefully overall the activities of Iran Chamber of Cooperatives shows that today the cooperative sector in Iran has 7% of share in the national economy. since the economy in Iran is actually mostly governmental, having a 7% share is a very big number. We have more than 94,000 cooperatives active in various fields of business and 14 million members, and we have employment of more than 1.8 million people, which is around 9% of the jobs in the country. Now, in order to quantitatively and qualitatively develop the country's cooperative sector with governmental sections, we have some suggestions. The first suggestion is actually giving our sectors those capacities. We believe that we have a lot of capacities in our country. We have a young country, and we believe in using the capacity of the youth, especially the young people who are graduated from universities, who are a big number in the country. And every year, hundreds and thousands of people are graduated from universities, and they have a good capacity. We use our utmost power in order to use these forces in our cooperative actions. The second point is using the specialized youth in holding professional responsibilities in the cooperative sector of the countries. It's been a few years that we have used the youth in our and their specialties in our country, and we will speed that up. The third is paying serious attention to the issue of training and promoting knowledge and skills in the organization, utilizing academic capacities and successful global experiences. We believe that education is necessary for every kind of activity, economic activity in the country. So we have put them into consideration, and we have considered these educational periods for our cooperators. And the fourth notion is paying serious attention to the network building among cooperatives and integration of homogeneous cooperatives. We have done very good activities in this area, and we can present our actions to our friends. It should be noted that the Iranian Chamber of Cooperatives, as actually the highest representative of the country's cooperative sector, has seriously considered all the above mentioned issues. And finally, I believe that the quantitative and qualitative development of the cooperative sector in Iran and other countries of the world are dependent on the adherence of cooperatives to the international principles and values of cooperation. And therefore, I consider the promotion and deepening of cooperative identity in Iran and other countries of the world as the main priority and real solution for sustainable development of the global cooperative movement, and consequently the development of collective entrepreneurship in global economy. In the end, of course, we use the points mentioned by our colleagues from other parts of the world and our colleagues from inside Iran, and expressing our gratitude to the organizers of the event, which can help transferring knowledge and experience among cooperators in different countries. Of course, these opportunities are very rare opportunities, and I thank my friends in Iran Chamber of Commerce, and I have this request from my colleagues in Iran Chamber of Commerce and the world, that we can use this method in order to have connection and negotiation during the period of pandemic, I should express my thanks to Mr. Lee Chun-sheng, Mr. Balu Ayer, Dr. Hosseini Nia, Dr. Sifa, as well as all the esteemed cooperatives from Iran, Spain, and India, and Japan, and other countries. I wish you all, dear colleagues, health, and thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullahi, for your comprehensive information regarding the cooperatives in Iran and all the useful information and also the proposals that you provided for this webinar. Definitely, with the help of the ICC and also the International Cooperative Alliance, we can work together to get all those proposals into action. It was also a great opportunity to have speakers from Africa, Europe, along with the speakers from Asia Pacific, next to our Iranian speakers. As it was mentioned in the webinar, the effects of entrepreneurship can be seen as innovation, technology increase, and creating jobs for the society, which leads to the increase of wealth and the end economic development. Moreover, cooperative entrepreneurship model coming from the group demand and group export can result into maximum results of creating jobs for society. The examples from each speaker shows how this model has been working in different cultural, economic contexts. Also important to keep the spirit of and sticking to the principles of cooperative so that we could have the highest result in the society. It's not acquired, can be fruitful in less than a decade. This is what we have been trying to demonstrate at this webinar to show the connection between to be in solidarity. By saying this, we come to the end of the webinar, and I'd like to wish everyone in each part of the world health and prosperity and success. Again, I really appreciate the presence of the president of ICA in Asia Pacific, Mr. Lee Chun-sheng, Mr. Balu Ayer as the Regional Director of Asia Pacific, Dr. Sifa from Africa, also Mr. Tarun from IFCO, Ander from Mondragon, and Osamu from Japan. Have a good day ahead and hope to see everyone soon after the pandemic.
پایان برنامه امروز رو اعلام کنم.